Hi, everyone. This is Tatiana Dudiez. I'm hosting Thrive and Shine. And, this music that I have as my icon music for this show, you've chosen the right music when it just makes you smile and want to dance every time. It's just like an anchor for joy and happiness and authenticity, I guess, because this is a show on authentic power. It's a show on conscious leadership and the way that people really choose to live their life in a way that is congruent. They walk their talk. They are most of them, sorry, are corporate refugees. People who have been in the corporate world have benefited from that amazing experience and have decided to run to follow their passion and to actually and oftentimes to go back in a way that serves that world that they were in or serves a parallel world with more light and more gifts and more of them to share. So today I have Tiffany Scott, and Tiffany Scott is a beautiful woman I actually have not even met in person. She is someone that I tracked down on Instagram because I just love the energy of her page on Instagram. I loved what she does in terms of community building. To me, that's the essence of femininity and feminine power. We are built to to actually create community, and we have such a craving and a desire to come back to community because we all have been isolated in the corporate world and in the world in general through the web, which in some way binds us, but in a lot of ways actually disrupts the community building and the connection. So Tiffany Tiffany Scott is an entrepreneur, sisterhood advocate, ocean addict, and founder of the international organization Sister Suppers. After a successful marketing career, she left the corporate world to follow her passion, which is community building. Her strength is identifying and fostering the DNA of local and global communities in 9 cities in the USA and growing: Australia, England. Sister Suppers teaches dedicated and devoted hosts to become community leaders. Hosts open up their homes, cook a home cooked dinner, and facilitate deeper connection through curated sharing circles backed by the power of sisterhood. How gorgeous is that? I love it. Welcome, Tiffany.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Look at you. You're so cute. I'm so excited to have you on. We had a couple of yummy conversations, and that's all. And I just wanted to have you on because, again, this is a platform for amazing people like you who really live their passion every day. And I want to applaud that. I think it's just so beautiful and unique, and it spreads such energy, right? When we live in our passion. So what led you to, what were you doing before, and what led you to or how were you led? Actually, that's what I want to know, is how were you led to realize that community building is really your passion? Because I have a lot of people who ask me, how do you find your purpose? And I don't know if I'm passionate about this or that. And so I always love to listen to the stories of people in general as to how they found their way to what they do.
Yeah, I love that question, that reframe of how were you led? Because I really do believe that passion's important, but having the bigger vision really does lead you. And if you're crazy enough, if you're willing enough, if you're passionate enough, if you're present enough, you will let it continue to lead you. And that's where I think we really get our real fuel from. We step into not just living day by day, but living for the betterment of whatever that means for us as human beings. For some, it's like creating a family. For some, it's like me, who wants to create, a global world where women can come together in micro communities, whatever that means for you. But it definitely led me, and I didn't know, when I was looking at this 5 years ago, that this is what it was actually going to look like. I just knew that, my overall vision and the vision for Sister Suppers is that it's a world where all women are united in love, support, and celebration. And we're getting there, but we've still got a long way to go. And I love what you're talking about, corporate refugee. I've not heard that before. That's so
I know.
great.
Oh my God. I love that term. I heard it. I don't even remember where and how and when, but it's just been like part of my vocabulary ever since. I'm like, oh, I grabbed that. That's mine.
Take it. It's so great. And yes, definitely a corporate refugee. So my background was in branding and marketing, and working for a lot of international brands. The main one people know here in this part of the world anyway is Speedo. And that's kind of where I got my feet wet. I started off as a graphic designer, then very quickly grew into creative direction and marketing director and things like that. Incredible experience. It's funny how when you look back over your life and you follow the path and you're like, oh, that's why I had to do that. Like,
right?
The initiation
Don't
process.
You love that? Oh my God. I love that. Absolutely. And when people ask me like, why is this your purpose and why do you do what you do today? First of all, I always say it's not what I do, it's who I am. And every single part of my the previous part to this stage, my past, every moment of pain, every bump, every joy, every win, every losing opportunity where I thought I lost, and really failed.
Won.
It's all this about this pyramid that it's formed to lead me to my top, and my top is my purpose, is where I am today. So if there is anything that I would say to my younger self, would be to not underestimate the power of pain, and not underestimate the power of failing, because it all contributes to building who you really are. And
I would also say, I'd also add to that, like, trust the process.
Oh my God. If I could actually, yes, I don't know, that of course I would want to say that, but I'm laughing because I don't know if I would be able to, knowing who I am even today.
Really?
I don't know if my younger self she would listen and she'd be like,
sure. But of course she's not going to listen. We can give her all the guidance you want.
Because even today, I find, trusting the process for someone who is ambitious and full of drive and energy and fire, it is a challenge. And I am continuously, diving back inside of me with my spiritual practice and routine. And I have to it's intentional for me to ground and to really be slowing myself down, because otherwise I'm like, and then I don't listen.
I bet you're better at it than what you were before.
For sure. I'm better at it today than I was even 3 months ago. Absolutely. It's an ever growing practice.
Totally. Exactly. I'm like you. I'm very ambitious and driven, and used to fall into the trap of burnout, but I've learned through enough of my mistakes that that's not the path. And I think that journey, again, everything's connected and perfect, helped me really trust the energy and the flow of the way Sister Suppers really was given to me. And I talk about Sister Suppers not really being mine. Sure, it's mine to lead and hold the container for it and give it the structure and put the money into it and things like that. But it's really the community, and particularly our inner circle of hosts, we do this together. It's very much a creation of togetherness. So they're often informing me of ideas and the direction that needs to go and where it's being pulled to as well. And then I take the charge and give it the structure that it needs. But it was really my days back in Speedo days where I was the marketing director that I fell in love with. I didn't really even know it at the time. It's just, again, hindsight. I fell in love with grassroots marketing, and a lot of grassroots marketing is about building one-on-one connection, like in-person connection, more offline connection than online connection, which then leads to community. And that was really my, I guess, my powerhouse, along with creative. I'm very good at creative, and I'm very good at overall strategy and brand and all that sort of stuff, blah, blah, blah. But it's the community that always kind of got me inspired. And so when I became a corporate refugee, I went on that soul searching mission of like, okay, well, I don't want to go back and work for another organization and do the same thing, different place. Because I literally left Australia to come to America, not knowing anyone, because I wanted to spread my wings. And I landed in another job in another fashion brand, doing great things as an art director. And then about 6 months in, after the kind of all the bells and whistles and the tinsel had fallen off, I was like, okay, I'm here. I did it. I made it, but it's the same thing, different place. And so fast forward, corporate refugee, and then went on that kind of, okay, what do I want to do?
Can you identify what were you feeling? Like, why did you want to, what is it besides the, the bells and whistles that quickly kind of calm down after you land into literally a new land, and it's a lot of differences that are very appealing at the beginning. Like, what were you feeling inside? What led you to really want to get out?
Well, what initially happened was it became a pretty toxic environment. It became very political. There was a lot of behind people's back talking. It got very political. And that didn't feel very good. There was a lot of playing games, that sort of thing. And so the challenge for me was that I was on a visa, and that particular visa meant that if I lost my job per se, then I would have to leave the country. So long story short, and I really do believe universe has always got your back, right? And as I was thinking this, I'm probably similar to you. Like, once I've reached my glass ceiling, I'm very well aware of it and I want to break free from it. But in this case, I felt like I was stuck because I was beholden by what I thought at the time was my visa. Well, that company, basically it downsized. In fact, it got bought out in the end, and it cut its staff in half, and then it eventually closed down the office. And I was one of the first ones to be let go, which was perfect, right? At the time, it didn't feel perfect because I went into like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What do I want to do? Which was all divine. And that's when I went into the whole soul searching mission of like, well, what do I really want to do? Do I want to go back and get another job at a different place doing the same thing, probably falling into the same trappings again of that corporate kind of political environment, making money for the man kind of thing? Or do I want to go out and do what I really want to do? And you asked earlier about like, how did I find my purpose? Again, it found me. It was like, really, when you look back, it was like, tapping me on the shoulder and then pushing me in the back and then giving me a kick up the butt. But I just started asking questions, like having conversations with people, getting curious, meditating, reading books, like going to different seminars. And I get a lot of clarity and clear downloads when I run. And so,
oh my God, me too.
Do you too?
Oh my God,
isn't it amazing?
I just did, and now I'm like making a point of running pretty much every day on the beach barefoot. So I'm grounding at the same time. And I get the most amazing downloads when I run. Holy crap, it's
It's like meditation for
I
me.
know.
It's yeah.
The
Yeah.
other day I ran back just to write down
Yes.
quickly
Yeah.
because I was like, I am going to lose this stuff.
Yeah.
It was all about a presentation. I am actually invited to a speech in Chicago at the end of October, and I downloaded the presentation. It was like, this is it. It's awesome.
And
I love
that's how
it.
easy it can be. We make it
I
so
know.
much harder than it needs to be if we
I
just
know.
let it come, right? And so the
Yeah.
exact same thing happened to me. I got the download of like, it's women inspiring women, it's women coming together, collaborating, supporting, nurturing. At that stage, it was creative business, a collective of where you can support women in building their brand because that's my background.
Right.
And I have it pinned to my wall right now. I came back and wrote down women's collective, women inspiring women, women supporting women, like just jotted it all down. And then it evolved, right? But the initial business, and I still do a lot of this work because it supports that income, supports the growth of Sister Suppers, where it's helping women really define their own brand, their unique brand message from the inside out, not the outside in, because we often get told you should say this and you need to do this and find your niche and blah, blah, blah. And that's it's not the path if you're a soul-led, service-based business person. I work particularly with women, but I do work with men as well, that wants to make a real difference in the world. It's not about what everyone else is saying, what everyone else should tell you what you're saying. It's what you heart side, like inside out stuff. So I still do that. That's that really is the income, the support, the love that I do around coaching women to step into that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that income, for the most part, all of that goes into building my passion project, which is Sister Suppers. And so Sister Suppers was really formed because I built out a community in LA, which was called BU Business Sisters at the time.
Oh, really?
And we gathered every month, and I would do teachings and trainings around how to define your brand message, what really makes you unique. But it evolved very quickly, and more women would come, and more women, and it was just growing and thriving. And we'd sit in a circle, and I'd get guest experts in, and we did holiday parties, and then I started to think about what else can I create for these women? They keep coming back for a reason. They're such incredible women. I want to give them more. And at one of the events, I threw out a few ideas, and I said, "This is what I want to create for you." And Sister Suppers was one of them. One of the ideas that I had, and they just ran with it. They're like, "We want that." I had this idea of how it was going to look. They literally showed me what it was going to look like. And then with that kind of blossoming and blooming, I was like, this needs to be everywhere. Like, this is not just an LA based place. This has got to bloom. Like, I want women in, Southeast Asia, in the Middle East, in Africa to be able to, and not that they're not doing this in their own way, but be able to create that opportunity where it's even more intentional, where strangers come together. Yeah.
And also create a web. You
exactly.
are facilitating the web between them. I am sure that many women are already doing this. It's totally. This is a step above. This is a system that you are building that allows all of these women everywhere in the world to connect.
Yeah. And the thing about the web, and I talk about this a lot actually, is that without a doubt, there's a feminine rising happening. Like, even Hollywood's cottoned onto it. Like, they're making blockbuster movies where women are the lead and talking about sisterhood. It's great. Perfect. It supports the evolution of what needs to happen. And women are doing incredible things across the world. Sister Suppers is unique because it's my baby. It was given to me. It's being birthed with the other women. It's this molding flesh of clay, and it's constantly moving and ebbing and flowing. But it's not to say that other women aren't doing it in their own way. Like, there's priestess circles, there's dinner parties, but we're all connected in this web where we're bringing our own essence. We're bringing our own whatever it is, our own purpose work to the web. And so this breaks down the paradigm of like, well, she's doing what I'm doing, so there's
No.
competition or
Mm-mm.
comparison, right? It's like we're all in this together. Let's do what we're meant to be doing. Let's listen to the call. Let's follow the path, and let's rise up and help each other, whatever that looks like in our unique ways, to create these different parts and components of the web. If you're
Mm-hmm.
doing a dinner and I'm doing a sister supper, if you're doing a women's circle and you're doing a priestess circle, if you're doing a tree circle, whatever it is, right? If you're doing creating a business that supports women in business, if you're whatever it is, if you're doing moon circles, like it's all part of the web that we're weaving.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
And the notion of competition is actually attached to patriarchy. And that
totally.
is not in, and that notion and that energy of competition
Yep,
is no longer viable, in my opinion, in
yep,
the in the rise of women, because we are about collaboration, we are about
absolutely.
inclusivity, we are about diversity. We bring in, by our very essence and truth and qualities of the feminine, we bring that to the table.
Yeah.
And I mean, why are there so many companies today in the corporate world actually seeking development and training and coaching on
Leadership.
diversity
Yep. Lead. Yep.
and
Yep.
innovation and inclusivity? Because
Yep.
they are starting to wake up to the fact that it is missing, it's lacking. And why it's lacking, it's because it has actually been part of the patriarchal system. So the rise of the feminine is actually not really a coincidence. It is part of a universal energy right now
Oh,
that is
absolutely.
right, that is about co-creating, collaboration, doing this together. I mean, I feel it. I used to be the type of leader that was at the top of my little game and my little ivory tower
In your masculine, for
and my
sure. Yep.
masculine. And then I was just fine being on my own up there until one day I hit enough walls and bricks and and then I was like, what the hell? That doesn't feel good anymore. And today I just, that's all I want to do is just collaborate. So I'm like, you know, unifying relationships and collaborations and co-creations with almost everyone I meet. It's like, oh, you want to do
Yeah.
this, and they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I've got, I think, and that's what it is. This is the rise of the feminine, is
Yeah.
simply, like you said, adding to this web our truth, our uniqueness. There is no competition. Who cares? That's just, the more the merrier, on the
Yeah.
opposite, right? And
Yeah. And it's such a
richer.
it's a very different paradigm to what we're used to, and it's an old, um sometimes challenging habit to break, or belief to even break through, as far as like there is no competition, because it's been ingrained in us for centuries, right? It's part of our ancestry as well, around like there's not enough for everyone, so therefore you
That's
need to
it.
take a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
we get to experiment and play and change that paradigm. And I also want to add, like, this is not a masculine versus feminine, this is not a male versus female thing either. It's like, I think as women, we're getting to remember who we are, and
Right. Hmm.
and redefine that.
Hmm.
And then the men will, once we show this new way of leading in the feminine, or the more of the feminine, the men will come and rise with us. They will support us in that. They will step more into their feminine, because the men are suffering through this as well. They're not allowed to
Absolutely.
be in their feminine,
Yeah.
right?
And to your point, I want to underline, because this is a very important point for me and the work I do, and how I actually represent the integration of feminine and masculine. So feminine and masculine are energies we all have within.
Yeah.
And once integrated, it honors both. So meaning, if it's integrated within us, it
Yeah.
then honors both on the outside as well, which means that a woman who is fully integrated into her power is welcoming, honoring, respectful of men around her. And that
Yes.
energy and influence it creates is entirely different than women who are perhaps standing in a feminist position against men. Not at all. I
Yeah.
think that that's unfortunate, and it doesn't lead to full collaboration. And so I never want to be supporting the notion of men against women. On the contrary,
Absolutely.
I mean, my training, my corporate training is all about gender intelligence, which brings women and men together so that they understand each other better and they can perform, waste less time identifying their differences and actually perform better and, you know, together. So good point. Thank you for identifying that, because it really, really is important. And I think the rise of the feminine is going to actually bring in that integration, that alchemy. We need an alchemy. Gender intelligence work for me is really bringing this alchemy to the forefront within, you know, intimate relationships or companies or within people,
families, all of it. I love that alchemy. Get that visually.
Gender alchemy, maybe that's what we want to call it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like the secret elixir, not even the secret elixir, but the elixir.
So it is the elixir. I don't know how to pronounce that. What happened to your circle here in LA? Or did they take over? Are they still doing Sister Supper?
Yes? So well, that particular community I sold. However, a lot of women in that community are still in that community that's run by another amazing woman. And a lot of those women are now continue to be Sister Supper hosts. Cool. I love to live in different places in different countries and different cities. And so I moved from LA and I now live in Austin, Texas. And the energy of that allowed me to really create the structure for women, to create the guidelines for women to be able to do it on their own without me, because initially it was me going home to home, co-creating and co-hosting with the women. So now, you know, we have 5 hosts in California. We have about 3 or 4 hosts in Texas. We have some in Ohio, New York. So we're growing.
This is like a franchise system. Almost.
No. So the way that it works is at the moment it's solely what we want to create is a profit for purpose at the moment. And again, I told you when I'd come on here, I'd be totally transparent. It's not a profitable model at the moment, although the model we're creating will be, because I really want to take a stand for women stepping into their own value. And to do that, we need to charge for the things that we do. And a lot of women, when they feel like they want to do something good, they just give it away for free. And there needs to be a shift around that, because women, if we're going to step into this way of feminine leadership, we need to make money, right? We need to step into our value. We need to be in that energetic exchange of money. And so the host, and they commit to becoming a host for a minimum of a year, and they host consistently throughout the year, because there is a training that takes place. It's kind of like a not for everyone kind of thing. It's very much for the host that wants to build community, that wants to step up in her leadership, that believes in true sisterhood, that is probably running a business on her own, has a business is an entrepreneur, has her own business. I was going to say on her own, but that's not necessarily true.
Right.
And she sees this as an opportunity to be really symbiotic with what she's creating in her own business too. But we also have women that, you know, are mums and want to create community within their community, that sort of thing. And so with that, the women charge. So there is a ticket price to go to the Sister Supper, because they're opening up their home, they're cleaning their home, they're facilitating a really beautiful evening of bringing strangers together, being intentional around the structure of the evening. They're buying the food, they're cooking the food, right? So there's the energetic exchange of that as well. And so at the moment, the women come in, they sign up to become a Sister Supper host. They invest in becoming a Sister Supper host as well, because this ship doesn't, you know, float on its own, right? Like there's, you know, upkeep. I have a team that supports it. There's newsletters that go out. There's marketing that takes place. There's a website that gets built and updated and upgraded all the time. In fact, we're building out a new platform at the moment. So there's a lot of moving pieces. But the most important part is that this is building micro communities of women being able to step into and trusting and relearning who they are again by being witnessed by other women.
Beautiful. That's awesome.
I don't even know if that answered your question. I was like on a roll there.
I don't care. It just was beautiful. Whether it answered my question or not, I think it brings a lot of clarity and purpose and meaning to, and you know, the reason why you choose this way to impact the world. So it's perfect. It is. And so what is it, how can women actually reach out to you and actually become one of a sister supper? What would you call them? A host, a sister supper's hostess?
So there's we just call it a host.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so if they want to reach out and become a Sister Supper host, they can go to the website, which is sistersuppers.com. I say in my American accent, sistersuppers.com.
Good try. I prefer the other accent. Sorry.
Sometimes people don't understand me.
Oh, come on. I mean, if I were to speak, you know, with a real heavy French accent, I get it, but you know,
roll my R's because we don't do that in Australia. But yeah, so you can go onto the website and there's an application, like a really quick, short application around that just helps you define and understand as a potential host what the requirements are and what you're willing to do.
Yeah.
And then you literally jump on a call with me and we have a deeper conversation. And then if you
vet them,
because it really isn't for everyone. It's not a free for all.
So what would you say would be cues that it's not for the person you're talking to? Actually, let's say you have a call and you identify a few things that really tell you that it's not for that person. What would it be?
Well, luckily, I think the women that show up and say that they want to be a host always become a host because they've really heard the call. They've been on the website, they've attended a sister supper. But generally, it's not for you if you're doing it for the money. It's not for you if you don't love opening up your home. I won't say that it's not for you if you don't like cooking, because I actually, funnily enough, don't love cooking.
Me neither, not specifically, but I love hosting.
Yeah, but I love hosting. So
I found ways around it. Yeah,
absolutely. We do encourage a home cooked meal, not like a takeout bought in meal, because there's something really beautiful and nourishing. And our tagline is nourished inside and out. But there are quick and simple ways that I love to share around how to create a sister supper where you're not slaving over the stove. Most of our women love cooking. And it's really not for you if like you just don't love all of those things. If you don't love opening up your home, if you don't and by the way, I'm an introvert, right? So this is perfect for the introvert, because introverts feel safer in their own environment when they're creating their own kind of container, I guess.
It's a safe container.
Yeah. So it's really great for introverts. It's great for extroverts as well. But if you love, it's easy for me to speak about what you'd love. So if you love hosting, if you love bringing new people into your home, into your life, if you love connecting women with other women, so we say women walk in as strangers and they leave as sisters. If you love creating an environment where women are having huge awakenings and ahas and breakthroughs and just feeling loved up, like it really is a love fest, then it's definitely for you. So all of those things, that's what women are being called to do. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a host, but if you're feeling the urge to just reconnect with other women, if you're even scared, and there's a lot of women that are scared of other women, but you're feeling the call that you need to create new friendships, or if you're new to town, then Sister Suppers is definitely a really beautiful, soft place to land. So sistersuppers.com. Come and find me there. Sign up to the newsletter. The newsletter is really just two a month, inspired by things that I'm learning that I want to share with you, and then what's happening in Sister Suppers. And then like where you and I connected, Instagram as well, which is it's actually Sister Supper Club.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I love the vibrancy, like I was saying, the yellow and it's just fun. It looks like so much fun and so radiant, which is the feminine. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. And I'm glad you got that from the brand identity, because that's what I
Absolutely.
wanted. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fun, lighthearted, freeing connection.
So another thing I really want to, or another part of you that I would like to highlight, I was going to say expose, probably not the right word. I think that comes from my French. Is how you're going to start a tour in January. And I think that I feel like that comes from your love of connecting, your love of traveling, what I really love about you and appreciate is that you've been able to combine all the loves you have. The love for connecting, even though you're an introvert, as you say, you don't come across as such, but you know, this is actually an important point. It's not because you're an introvert that you need to live in that way fully and completely all the time. But you've been able to assemble your love for connection, your love for travel, your love for women, your love of truth and purpose and meaning. And you've combined it. So what else do you do in your life? And talk to us about this tour that you will do in as of January, you said, right?
Yeah, January is the goal. So I think that's really important when we as women are creating something that we want to do that's in alignment with who we are and the purpose that we want to create in the world. And I was very intentional around what I wanted to create in my life, in my way of living, in my lifestyle that could support, and a business or a model, a movement really that would support that way of life, so I could really be in my flow, in my joy, in my what really supports what my soul wants in this lifetime. So it didn't happen overnight. This has been really 5 years in the making, and I really want to iterate that, because people think things happen in a minute.
Oh God, yes.
And it's just not true. Like, we're all on our journey, we're all on our path. It will happen when it's meant to happen. And just know that success is inevitable for you. Like, just know that it's going to happen. If you're clear in your intention and what you're going to create, it's going to happen.
And if you follow that, or it's not just following that path, it's really doing all you can to align so you can follow the path of meaning and purpose. Because again, coming back to what we were talking about earlier on the show, when we are driven, ambitious, in the action of doing, we tend to quickly get rolled up into that rhythm, and we don't know how to backpedal and stop and slow down, so we can actually get aligned. The alignment part I love, because you are actually mentioning that word a lot, which really tells me that, that alignment is understood by you. And alignment is really connecting the dots. It's really being able to slow down enough so you can hear your own voice and make space for your truth to rise.
Totally.
And then from that truth, you align that truth on the outside with the way you lead your life, right?
Yeah.
But we can't get to that if we are in the wheel of the hamster. You know that hamster wheel, which is most of people's lives, right? It's like, oh, I'm so busy that I didn't have a time to call you. Oh, I'm so busy that find another excuse. I can't
the word
stand
busy.
that excuse.
I know. Let go of the word busy.
I am so triggered by that word now. I'm so busy. Okay.
That's another.
I am. All of us are. Let's just find another word. Anyways,
I like to use the word full. I'm really full, and I'm really grateful, or I'm,
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, really full.
Steal that.
Go for it. Steal away. It's all yours. I'm giving it to you, so you don't have to steal it. You can have it.
But that's it. It's exactly that. So
and also with alignment, it's like, be willing and be okay with making mistakes, because that's how you figure it out. Like, that's how you really get to know, well, what is in alignment for me, right? So for me, I made the mistake of going from corporate into my own business, still in the corporate mindset of like, I've got a hamster wheel. And then I realized, actually, I'm my own boss. I can get off this hamster wheel. got burnt out, right? Made the mistakes, learned what's flow for me, what's alignment, still learning, like you were saying before. So, you know, for me over the years, I was like, okay, well, I don't want to work a 5-day week. I want to work a 4-day week and have a 3-day weekend. But none of those days, there's a creative day. And then I was like, I'm working so hard. I can't travel as much as I've been traveling because I'm new in my business. I'm trying to create money that's not allowing for travel. Wait, travel is so important to me. How do I create more travel in my business? Right. So that came into it. And then I was like, wait a minute, I don't think I want to be in one place all the time. Oh, well, what do I want? I've been saying for years, I want to travel around the US. Oh, well, how do I make that happen? Great, let's do a Sister Supper roadshow, which is perfect, which is in alignment with my grassroots marketing background, right? Where I literally am taking Sister Suppers on the road. I'm going to be living out of a camper van. It's going to be called the Sister Supper Bus. And as of January 2020, I'm going to be going from city to city to where all my hosts are, and then new cities where there are no hosts yet and there are no suppers, and creating the energy and the essence across the USA, doing what I love, creating community, creating micro communities, traveling, not so much the cooking, but I will do it. and creating
I'll come and help you.
Thank you. You're all welcome. Anyone's welcome actually to come and help you host and cook.
That's awesome. I love it.
So, you know, and this has been in the making. Like I've still got, you know, till the end of the year to buy the van, to work with the right sponsor partnerships, to, you know, get the things set up. Like I didn't even realize when I had this idea of like, wait a minute, why don't I just do a Sister Supper roadshow? Like it's perfect for the movement. It's so in alignment with what I want to create with micro communities and spreading it grassroots. And then I started, I happened to cross like, you know, hashtag van life, and then all the YouTube videos around van life. I'm like, oh my God, it's a thing.
It's a thing.
Yes, it's a big undertaking.
It is. It's a big thing. I had checked it out too at some point. Yes.
Yeah.
And what kind of sponsors do you need? Like, speak your truth on sponsors right here. Let's use this platform.
So, you know, I really want to create partnerships with people that are willing to invest in the movement of Sister Suppers, that they know that's going to support what they're creating in their brand as well.
Okay.
So it could be anything from, you know, a coffee or tea brand. It could be, a juice brand, a food brand, but is in alignment with what Sister Supper stands for. And that is sisterhood. That's community building. It's about health. It's about wellness. It's about nourishment from inside out. It could be other brands that are creating, you know, communities as well that are around spiritual leadership, or that want to also branch out across the US as well. So there'd be logo placement obviously on the van, so they get to be toured around the country. There'll be participation on my YouTube channel that we're building out. Instagram, we have 20,000 followers. Like, but it's not really about this one size fits all. It's about it's like, you know, the old days of sponsorship was, and we used to do this, you know, with the brands that I used to work with, we'd spend 50K or 100,000K or $1 million working on a partnership, and it was kind of like, oh, you get this logo placement here, you get this here, and you get this here, and that's it for your $50,000, your $100,000. For me, it's like, let's build a partnership so it's a win-win. You will have a financial investment in this for sure, because again, it's women standing for the value of what they're creating. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Be an investment in being part of the partnership. But let's build this together so it's a win-win. So
I'm really wanting to talk with you about this type of partnership. So we'll get off the air and we'll or another time. I don't know how much time you have, but let's continue that conversation. I'm very interested.
Absolutely.
I want to align with other awesome women. So
totally,
this is
that's
perfect.
What it's about.
Yes.
About.
I know.
Yeah.
So we have a few minutes left. We have like about 6 minutes left.
Okay.
So I want to ask you a few questions about your life and about what is it about your life every day that turns you on?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I mean, it sounds cliche, but Sister Suppers really turns me on. It really does. And I also want to share, don't get me wrong, there's hard days. Like I even got up this morning and I'm like, what am I doing?
Well,
Right.
back to your point that we actually brushed over because we digressed into something else.
Oh,
We are
okay.
so good at that, right? But you were you were starting with that point that this impression that we might give to
Right.
people about being there or being successful, or I mean, I don't know what it is that that is so is so easily mistaken by people when 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 they are facing what looks like success to them, and there is like an assumption that that success was reached without pain and sometimes suffering, tears and sweat, and
Yeah.
again we aim to be more in flow and with more grace, moving through the process of our journey, right, including the work journey, but that's part of the journey, but until we are there, we often get to these points of success by freaking grinding it, and it's not
Yeah.
the way. That's the paradigm, unfortunately, that we're
That's the
leaving
old, yeah,
behind, right?
exactly.
Exactly. But it is interesting how there I've faced often this assumption people make that I'm so joyous, I'm so full of life, I make shit happen, right? And then so there's this assumption that, oh my god, it's so easy, and like she's got it all, and like, what?
Yeah, well, it comes from the patriarchy, from competition. It comes from really old school marketing as well. Like, I
Correct.
made 6 figures in 6 weeks, and this is how easy it is because I just want to sell you into a program so I can make more money. So that's
Yeah,
kind of
no,
where,
yeah,
and there's layers upon layers of that. But
right.
I think it's important as women, as leaders that are building communities and holding communities, the energy of communities, that we be transparent, we be honest. Like, you asked me what I do outside of what I do.
Right.
And that is like connecting with nature. It is absolutely travel. One of the things I say in my bio is that I'm an ocean addict. I'm living in the middle of Texas right now, which,
What the hell?
I know, but it's
Come
an
over.
experience. Yeah. So when I'm doing the van life next year on the Sister Supper Roadshow, you'll see me at the ocean a lot.
Great.
But
You'll be
I
doing
love it
6 months,
here.
6 months in California and 6 months across the United States.
Probably. But yeah, it's so important to know that, like, even this morning I got up, I've got really horrible jet lag at the moment. I just spent a month in Australia. And I'm so grateful for that because my business allows me to do that, right? I can work from anywhere. But I woke up and I was in that heavy kind of wake up funk going,
Yes.
what am I doing? What's happening with Sister Suppers? Is it going to be successful? Like, how do I get, what's going to happen next? Blah, blah. Is it going to, all the things.
Yep.
And then, and then the day continues. And I sat and meditate and calmed the system down and kind of got back on track. But it's times like this where I get on a call with a woman like you that's doing your incredible stuff and your heart's such in the right place and you're really helping people get their heart in the right place and step into their purpose, that makes it worthwhile. It's those things that seem little that are so big that get you back on track, that get you turned on and get you reignited of like, yes, I'm on path. It's challenging today, but I'm going to do it anyway because this is where my heart's at. And I've got to stay so true to that, So
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, because
yeah.
in moments of challenge like that, and I feel those, you feel those, anyone who's human, even more maybe enlightened and awakened because we are so committed to our spiritual work, we feel that, and those moments need our own nourishing of ourselves and our own love towards the moment that is not so perfect, doesn't feel so amazing, but let's just slow down, go back to you, do what you need to do to really go within, calm yourself down. And I love what you said. And we connected, we have this privilege of connecting today. And I usually find that when I have a moment like that, I will make a point to connect with a woman I really know is going to bring an exchange based in love, grounded in that energy of love. And it usually really puts me on a different vibration.
Totally. And what you're talking about right there is true sisterhood.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
True sisterhood, that energetic heart-to-heart exchange. Can call you on your SHIT when you need it. I've got sisters on speed dial from all over the world, basically, that I know that I can call at any time and go, I'm in a funk, I need to release, can you hold this space for me? Or, oh my God, I just had this incredible win, will you celebrate with me? Like, that is sisterhood. And that's what we need. That's what we got to reconnect with.
That's pure.
Yeah.
It's pure love.
Yeah. And remembering that we don't have to do it on our own. We're not meant to do it on our own, because that is the old paradigm. That is the old patriarchy as well. We're meant to do it together. We're better together. We're
better together. Yay. So one last question, then we have to get off, because we have reached our 50 minutes, our time, this delicious time that goes by so fast. I could stay on so much longer. What can you not go without? That's my question. I ask everyone.
Sisterhood.
During the day. Yes.
Sisterhood every day. I have different pods of sisters in different groups that I check in with on the daily. It keeps me on track. I never, until I really started to nourish sisterhood on a deeper level, I never knew the depth of what it would continues to show me.
Amen to that. I absolutely agree. Until it took me forever, though. I don't know when you kicked into the sisterhood energy, but it took me a really long time to get there. And now it's like, I can't go without.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I want for every woman. And that's what Sister Suppers is. Like, just step into that energy. Even if it's just for an evening, just step into that energy. Magic happens.
Magic happens. We're all about magic. Yay. Thank you so much, Tiffany. You're amazing. I love you. I can't wait to create more with you. So stay on. We're going to continue talking about partnership, and our show is over, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for joining. Much love.